Today is Friday, February 7th. Um, it was raining overnight here in Southern California. We're expecting probably another storm coming next week. Um, so it rained yesterday evening until this morning, which is actually great for us because, you know, we got free water for the trees and the plants and so on. There's really not too much happening with regards to the pond in the last few weeks since the koi show. Um, the water here has gotten slightly murkier because I disconnected the two pumps that were sharing the water between the two ponds. So this pond has been on its own for the last 2 weeks, meaning it was utilizing its own biofiltration, which isn't fully mature yet. That's why there are still algae growing in this pond. But nonetheless, even on a gloomy day, I mean, if you look at the sky right now, overcast, you see that? Even so, the fish are still clearly visible. And I must say, the water temperature right now is going to be close to 60 degrees actually. So the water temperature right now is about 60 degrees. And if you haven't started feeding your koi yet because you're afraid of the winter weather, well, let me tell you, at 60, they're gonna eat, and they're gonna eat a lot. I've been feeding 2-3 times a day with a big bucket, and they eat it all up. The way they're swimming, you can see that they're not lethargic or sluggish, and they're able to digest the food in this temperature without issues. By Saturday and Sunday, and for the most of next week, we're gonna have good sunlight shining through and warming up the pond for 2-3 days, and then periodically throughout next week. And then on, I believe, Thursdays and Fridays again, we might get a little bit of rain. Just looking at the fish here, I'm hoping to have some of the female koi pack on some weight and develop more eggs, ready for perhaps a May or June spawning. That's kind of like my hope right now. Is especially that Momotaro Kohaku right there. She's starting to get eggy, and I'm hoping that a few more will show signs of large belly with egg development. That way I can try spawning them for fun. But quite a bit of fish still available here. Sometimes I sell one or two, whoever happens to contact me. But I enjoy growing them nonetheless, and to be able to see them this clearly and see how much they've grown in the last 6-7 months, it's pretty astonishing. I'm actually gonna be transfer more fish into this pond from the small pond. So the small pond has been on its own. Now the small pond, I had put some fish from the koi show in here. I purchased some small fish, right? And there was something going on, but some of the fish did not feel that great, and they didn't look that great. So I salted the pond here using this salt from Home Depot right here. Solar salt. I got this from Home Depot. It was like $8 for $8 for 40 pounds. I should mention that what's important about this one is that there's no additives, right? So see, look, there's no additives, and it was really, they came in like small little chunks, so it was able to dissolve pretty nicely in the pond when I threw it in there. I brought the pond up to about 6% salinity, close to 7. Um, and as you can see from the temperature probe and thermometer, it's 60 degrees right now. So the fish are actually swimming really nicely. The salt really helped them got better. And as you know, when the weather warms up, the immunity is just gonna get better. I haven't had fish in here for a while, so adding some new ones in introduced some pathogens that got some of this fish feeling a little sluggish, and it was really visible. Some of them were showing more signs of symptoms and so on, and so I ended up deciding that it was probably best to quarantine them. I was gonna quarantine them in here with potassium permanganate, but I felt they were already a little bit stressed, so I didn't want to overstress them. So let me show you guys my current quarantine setup for some of the fish that I felt needed a little bit extra help. And when you see a whole pond full of fish, you'll know, like if some of them have symptoms that you felt were a little bit more excessive than others, and they need a little hand, a little extra helping hand. I went ahead and set up this tank. Let me show you guys real quick. For years, I really didn't bother with the quarantine because I was able to quarantine everything with salt and potassium permanganate in a small pond. But this time, the symptoms were a little bit more than what I felt was comfortable with that method. Now, if you look at here, the water temperature based on this thermometer is 73.9, right? So my goal was keeping it at 74 degrees. And the reason why I set up this quarantine tank was because I suspect that there were some fish with sleeping disease where they would essentially lay kind of like flat on the bottom of the floor, and then when you touch it, they wake up. Now, typically, as I've been doing more research and talking to more people, the sleeping disease. Oh, look at all this water. Oh, I gotta get it out. Yeah, it was raining last night, so you know what? I'm gonna have to hold on. I'm gonna have to put this down for a second. Gotta remove the give me 1 second. Let me set this down. So I gotta remove the water. Here we go. Yeah, but I was saying, hopefully it doesn't tip over. It should be fine. Okay, let me see. Alright, so I got the water out. It doesn't sag anymore, which is good. Here, let's take a look at some of the fish underneath here. Let's see. So the quarantine tank was set up. This blue tank right here is about 530 gallons. I got it off of Seaside Aquatics. And I filled it up to about maybe 350 something gallons worth of water, just enough where I felt it was comfortable and easy to heat up. The tank's material, the plastic or rubber here, it's actually a really high quality, and I think it's easily reusable. The setup wasn't too tedious, but it did take a while. For water temperature control, I have this heater. I got this off of Amazon. It says what, fish keeper. It's upside down, but it's a 1,000-watt heater, and it has a thermostat here, so you can control it. So I set this to 75 because the propare, the reading is about 1 degree higher than my other thermometer, and I trust the other one more. So to get 74, I ended up setting this at 75. So now it's at 74. Overnight, when it cools down, it does make this thing work a little bit more. But once it's heated up, with the cover on, it keeps the water really stable at around 74 degrees. And this pond, or I should say this tank, has a little bit more salinity than the other small pond. This is about 7% salinity, just for extra measure. So I talked to someone who knows a lot more about quarantine, and they suggested that bring the water to 7% salinity, and I also tossed in the vitamin C powder that I got through Amazon for the water. I tested the water yesterday. The ammonia level is very well controlled, because if you can see that black thing that I wrapped down there, it's a little hard to see because of the water pump. That's actually my biomedia that I took from the small pond right there on that side. I took it on that side and I dropped it inside here to keep the water stable. Instead of using an aerator, what I did was I just used a very small pump to pump the water up. It's very quiet, and it does the exact same thing. You know, it just moves the water up to the surface. And the fish in here have been looking really nice. So as I mentioned, I was kind of concerned about the sleeping disease issue. Technically, the sleeping disease is something that should have been addressed by the breeder in Japan. So I was really surprised to see it made its way over here when I got the fish, because normally through quarantine you would see it, and then all right, so let's break this down, right? Really quick. So the sleeping disease is caused by a type of virus, right, that's present in the koi. And what the breeders do in Japan, and this is according to information that I got from very knowledgeable people, what they do in Japan is they expose the fish when they're young. They expose them to sleeping disease, and then they change the environment, which is basically they heat up the water and they salt the water to a certain parameter, which then allows the fish that has caught the disease or the virus to build natural immunity, kind of like how we get a flu shot. And by doing that, once the fish builds up the immunity, they no longer become susceptible to the symptoms. So the symptoms of sleeping disease is very easy to tell once it reaches a certain stage. You'll see the fish kind of like hanging on the side right here at the bottom, right? And they'll, instead of laying down there normally, they lay sideways. And if you agitate the water near them or if you touch them, they'll swim up like normal, and then they'll swim up and then they'll eat and everything, but then they'll come back down. The other symptom you'll see is that they have like pinkish color around the fins and the skin, which is visible. Um, so the sleeping disease can be fatal, according to what I've heard and read, because what happens is when the fish is laying sideways down here, right? Eventually, they get infections on the side or ulcers, which leads to other kind of infections. That's when it becomes problematic. But it's apparently very easy to address. All I had to do was put the fish in an environment, heat up the water to about 73 to 75 degrees. That's why I landed at 74, right in the middle, and just keep them there for like a week or two, and eventually the symptom goes away. Like I mentioned, I added vitamin C here to kind of boost the immune system. See, you can kind of see this fish is kind of stressed too. I can see the kohaku, like the veins on there. But in any case, I think what happened in my pond was like there was a batch of fish that did not have the immune system built up for or against this disease yet. So that's why they show symptoms. All my big fish did not. The vast majority of my fish in the pond did not have any symptoms because they already had been, built up the immunity probably in Japan. So it was really surprising for me to see that. But it was caught early. I put some of the fish that I felt had a little bit of symptoms and ailments. I put them in here. So by next week, when it warms up and more sun comes in, or I should say by tomorrow, this tank will get even warmer. But 74 degrees is more than enough. And once I see that they're swimming fine and eating normally, I'll be able to just throw them back into the pond and just let them enjoy their time, because no one wants to be in the quarantine environment for long. But they've been here since, let me think, probably since Tuesday, maybe Tuesday or Monday. Yeah, maybe Tuesday. And I've been monitoring the system. To my surprise, even with the volume of water in this tank being at only maybe about 350 gallons, it still took this heater overnight to heat it up to the right temperature. And it began at around 60 something degrees, like 58 degrees, and it took a whole night, because at nighttime earlier this week it was really cold. So it was heating up and then cooling down by the environment, but eventually it got heated up. So now we're at 74. The quarantine fish look pretty happy. They're moving in a very like graceful, natural motion. I'm not seeing signs of stress. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna throw in some food and see if they're willing to eat. I haven't fed them yet. I'm technically not supposed to feed them, but a few small pallets of food isn't gonna be a problem, hopefully. So and I'm not really changing out this water because I have the bio in there and it's gonna get rid of the ammonia, so we don't have to worry about that. The salinity here is really high. It's about 7%, which is higher than normal, but reportedly that's what really helps the fish feel better. It helps them build up their slime coat, and it can even kill some pathogens that aren't used to that salinity level. Alright, so I'm gonna grab some food real quick for the fish, and then we're gonna put a few in and see how they react to it. Yeah, but I do like this tank. I was gonna use a small kiddie pool, but it was a little too shallow. Even if you can find one that's 30-inch deep, it still felt kind of shallow. So alright, let me feed this. Let me see. Let's see how they react to it. Let's see if they take the bait. Oh yeah, that one's eating right there, you see. Okay, the Hishoa eating, the other Showa eating. Okay, the other three is making its way over. Let's see if they see the food. Okay, and that Showa did not seem to show interest yet. Yeah, but I think it's because they see me, and probably with the camera sticking in front of their face like this, they're a little shy. But yeah, they're gonna finish this. I can sense that they're gonna eat it. So we got confirmation that 3 ate the food. The other 3 is swimming around, probably being a little shy. So okay, and well, that's okay for now. I'll just leave it there. I'm gonna go feed the other fish and show you guys that they are eating like pigs. Alright, so before I feed my fish on this pond, what I do is I've actually installed, I bought a bunch of these outdoor Wi-Fi plugs, and the app is called Casa. I guess that's another way of saying casa as in home in Spanish. But okay, let me see, home. Alright, so I got a bunch of, as you can see, I got a bunch of plugs. I got the floodlight for the pond and the outdoor plug light. Outdoor plug for the air pump right here. So I'm gonna turn this on, and then the air is gonna come on that side to block the food from getting inside the skimmer. You see what's bubbling? Alright, so now we can feed them. Alright, here we go. So as you can see, in this pond, look at that. They're not shy, they're hungry. Water temperature, if you're in SoCal right now, should be about 60 degrees on your water. So you should be feeding them right now like this, because there shouldn't be any hesitation or apprehension about feeding food right now, because look at that. So these guys are gonna eat 3-4 times a day right now, and if the weather continues to, it's actually pretty noticeable. Like if you were just coming out here and feeling the weather and trying to gauge the temperature with your body, it's difficult for you to tell. But if you install like a thermometer, like a probe, the way I did on that side, you can slowly see as we progress into spring that just naturally the water temperature will just increase. Like a couple of weeks back, I wouldn't even say a couple of weeks, like a week and a half back, the water temperature was at 53 degrees and slowly progressively went to 54 degrees. So now we're at 60 degrees early in the morning. So during the day, it's gonna, if the sun comes up, it's gonna raise it by about another 1 or 2 degrees. It cools off, in a nighttime, which is obvious. But what I'm saying is the changes in the weather as we progress from winter to spring, it's not noticeable by us on a daily basis, like if you were coming out here. But if you install a temperature probe and read the thermometer, you're gonna see that it slowly increases. Just day by day, it just increases. Half a temp each day, and slowly you're now at 60 degrees water, perfect for feeding. So I already set my auto feeder to feed these fish 3 times a day, but when I come out here, I also feed them again, just to watch them for fun. That's not a lot of food for all this fish, obviously, but just seeing how they react to the food, how active they are right now. The salt really did wonder for this small pond as well. There was no way I could heat up 3,500 gallons with those small heaters, so salt was the only way to go. And yeah, they look really good. So this year I'm gonna definitely pumping these fish to get them to a good size. this weekend perhaps, when I have time, what I'll do is I'll start moving the bigger fish into the larger pond, because some of them are going to be outgrowing this pond and we need to make space for the small ones to grow. As I've also previously mentioned, the bigger the fish you have in the pond, compared to some of the smaller batches, you risk injuring the small fish, because when you have the big fish just jumping and becoming very aggressive when they start feeding, just the way they move, and they can really whip the small fish. I've had maybe 1 or 2 fish that died because of that. So they got whacked by the big fish and they just died, like they just became unconscious. No other symptoms except for that. So that's why you want to keep fish at a consistent size if you want to grow them out. So no one takes too much food, no one becomes too physically aggressive towards the smaller one, and it just works out better. What's also interesting about this pond is when I had the fish that spawned last year, I put a bunch of small fish in here, and now I don't think I can find any small fish. So these guys are cannibalizing the small koi, essentially eating the small koi. It's a pretty scary thought. So now I know I cannot just mix a bunch of babies in here. I have to put the babies in a separate cage if I spawn them, because these guys will eat anything that they can swallow. They'll eat. I might have a few small sorghoi missing, because I was supposed to have like 3 baby sorghoi that I purchased, and now I can only see 1. So there was a chance that one of the bigger fish ate the small sorghoi. There's a chance. I'm not saying that's what happened, because I can't verify anything. They might be hiding under the flaps or in between the wall somewhere, but I suspect, since I'm missing a lot of the baby fish that spawn and I can't see them anywhere, I suspect they might have gotten eaten. So that's a scary thought, but nonetheless, it's being observed. Yeah, so anyways, this year, starting now all the way to the end of fall, I can feed, and my goal is to pump out these fish to a good size, because we still got a lot of like toe size right there, you see it? So they need to be fed more. I think the weather's gonna permit. I think we're gonna be fine. But once I move the big fish out, the smaller fish will get a chance to grow, and the big fish will grow better in the big pond anyways. I'm really liking that Shiro Usuri right there, that Ginrin Shiro Usuri. I'm hoping to develop that fish. That fish has a lot of potential. I like the pattern, the color, the body shape, the giant head that it has. It really, it could be a show koi if I can grow it out a little bigger. Check it out. And I got some Momotaro Kohaku right there. Some hopefully have potential to get big. If I keep feeding, they have no choice but to eat and get big, hopefully. Yeah, this Kohaku right here, pattern's a little different, but potential growth and the white color in that fish is really nice. So I'm very much looking forward to that fish. That other Kohaku right there, down there, was exhibiting some swimming issues, but I think it's gotten better. And this fish has a lot of potential too. I definitely noticed that the Momotaro Kohaku color is very deep. The red is extremely deep. As long as the color maintains, I'll be really happy. Also, this Maruten 3-step Kohaku is quite nice right there, that baby one. Yeah, but that's pretty much what's been happening since the koi show, and it won't be long until we're in Gardena again, and then Northern California koi show. And I just went online, I saw they're gonna be doing the All-American koi show again in Las Vegas at that Silverton Hotel again. So I'm hoping to have time to just go there and get some footage. See all that food that's flowing right now? It won't take long for them to finish it. Usually early in the morning they don't eat quite as aggressively. I noticed that they usually eat more during the midday, well into the night light. So even at 8, 9, 10 p.m. they'll eat, but in the morning they're not quite as hungry for some reason. But they're eating, and they're growing really nicely. I just noticed when I throw the fish in here and just feed them like this, like non-stop feeding, man, they are growing. Like, let me give you an example. See that green chow wai down there? It's a green Gindrin chow wai, right? When I put it in here, she was, a good like 18, 20 inch, but now she's gotten much thicker. Like, she's slowly building up mass on that body. And check out that Marudo Sanke, huh? Looking really nice. By the end of this year, I suspect we're gonna get a lot of big fish in here. A lot of big fish. And it's gonna be really, really nice. Alright, let's see how the quarantine fish are doing with the food. You see that? There's only a few pellets left. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pellets left. That's it. So they are eating. That's a very good sign. Alright, I'm gonna close this up and continue watching them for the next few days, well into next week, and then hopefully all the signs are good and I'll be able to just throw them back.